Like loud. Hi, everybody. This is Jen Hadley. I'm here with Fierce Mom, and I have a really special guest today. Her name is Nancy Payne. She is a mediator and all around lovely lady. And I've been really excited for this conversation because I wish I had it 7 years ago. Hi, Nancy. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, where you're working, what you're doing, and all the lovely things that everybody needs to know about you.
Well, hi everyone, and hi Jen. Thanks so much for having me here today. I've been looking forward to it, and I wish I could have been part of what you had gone through with your separation and divorce to have made that an easier process for you.
Me too. Sounds
Well,
like it would have saved me a lot of stress and money and lots of drama.
yeah, and I might be a little biased here, but I really have a passion for what we do in mediation, and I have a passion for it because of all the benefit to it. So I'm really excited to be here to be able to help people understand what it is that we do and how we can help. So thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Of course, so happy to have you. This is such an important conversation, especially around now. It's unfortunate, but we're going through COVID. The holidays just ended. It's been super stressful. I'm sure that there's got to be like a lot of people right now considering or having started the separation process. Like it's not something fun to talk about, but there's reality there that it's like, okay, I'm doing this, this is happening in my life, now what, so tell us a little bit about what you guys do at Fresh Start Mediation that's different than, if I was to go to a lawyer, or what the next steps are for people just in the beginning of this process, because that's really where there's so much information and there's so much available, but it's hard to pick out what to do for our personal situations.
It is. There's lots of things out there, lots of options that you have, mediation not being the only one. But I guess, and to go back to your original question too, I work with Fresh Start Mediation. Just a little bit about myself. I did all my through Mount Royal University here in Calgary, and we have an alternative dispute resolution board here in Alberta. But so I have my designation, or QMed, qualified mediator designation through sorry, I have a call coming in.
Great.
Through our designation board here in Alberta. So I'm legit is what I'm trying to say.
You're definitely legit for sure. So
Yeah.
tell us about the options. Tell us about like I just had the worst holidays ever. I've been quarantined with my whoever for like a year almost. I'm losing my mind. What do I do?
Yes. So a lot of people, the first thing they do, and what we've been taught, is the legal route: call a lawyer, and go to court. And that can be a very stressful, costly, and not always working in your favor process. So there is a place for lawyers in the legal system. We like to put it at the end. Arbitration is another way that you can go, where you have an option to have an arbitrator. You can make as many decisions as you can together, and then anything that's left that you guys can't agree on, the arbitrator will make that decision. The difference with mediation is that you come together, we help you work through the process. So we get you to what they call an uncontested divorce. So in order to be able to put your paperwork through the courts, it needs to be an uncontested divorce. So everything needs to be agreed upon. All your finances, your assets, your parenting plans, all have to be written up, and it all has to be reviewed by a lawyer as well. And we always encourage independent legal advice. So if you, throughout the whole process, have your lawyer check in with them, or even just at the end, once we get to the mediated agreement, then you can have that reviewed by a lawyer. And that can either be turned into a separation agreement, or we can submit it. We have a paralegal on our team that we can submit all the paperwork through the courts for you as well. But time you get to the point where you're dealing with the lawyers and the courts, it's either just a review and just making sure that everything in there is really the best situation for you. So they're not working you through the process. We are.
Okay. See, that's why I wish I would have seen you earlier, known you earlier. I went the lawyer route and I spent, I don't know, way more money than I even thought that I had to spend.
Yeah.
And really at the end of it, we went through mediation and that for us, it didn't work. And what kind of, so that's why I'm wondering, that's kind of what my question is how do you make it work? Because I know that both parties have to decide, but when one like I'll just spill it. We had a very hostile, like we're not friendly. You know, we didn't have we weren't. We didn't have the friendly like I agree, you agree, okay, let's sign the papers. That didn't work for us. So when we got to mediation and we got through all of these, you know, all the decisions on parenting and everything, and then 2 days later everything kind of flipped on its head and it was, you know, it was taken back and all of the agreements that we had were kind of like, no, I don't agree anymore. What do you do then? Because we're also in an arbitration agreement. So what do you do if, you know, you're in this like high, what do they call it? High conflict. If you're in a high conflict situation where everybody's emotionally charged and this person wants this and this person wants that and nobody's really agreeing, how do you get them past that? Because that would have probably saved me like $100,000.
Yeah, and I guess just to clarify as well, for mediation, like both people have to be don't have to be you don't have to be willing to be friends, and you don't have to be willing to agree with everything the other person says.
Right.
But we have to have two parties that are willing to work with us. Whether we don't always necessarily have to have you in the same room. We can mediate with one, mediate with the other, and then do the negotiation back and forth. So that's one way that we can mitigate as well. And when you get into agreements that don't really stand the test of time, what we really help and how we navigate that, so we do have a really solid foundation for the next chapter in your life, is we really just with a lot of active listening and a lot of questioning, and we really get down to understanding what your needs are. And until if you have somebody that's working with you that's not drilling down deep enough and helping you truly understand why you want what you want and what that gives you, and doing that for both parties. So when that level has not been touched, that's where these agreements in a lot of cases can fall apart.
Yeah, and I find that I hear that a lot too, like with a lot of my friends and people that I know that are in this process. A lot of times it's I just want this, I just want that, and there's no real. I guess it's so emotional. Even after years of it, it's so emotional that it's people are immediately defensive when they come in, right? So having somebody that can sort of get through all of that and get down to the nitty gritty of, okay, here are the facts, here's what we need to accomplish. I think that would be really useful versus, I took the lawyer route and um, it was more, oh, we're going to get him instead of, and I find that that's the thing is I didn't want to get him, but I felt like I like needed to get him.
Much more adversarial process.
Yeah.
And like, we're not counselors,
Right.
experts. So we're like an air traffic controller. Like, we don't fly the plane, we just help you bring the plane in. So
Right.
it's when it comes to being able to help you navigate through that emotional piece. Like I said, we're not a counselor, but we really do bring that elephant in the room out.
Yeah.
And we really help you dive into it to understand. And it could take a bit of work as well. I'm not saying all this is easy and it all happens in 5 minutes, but having somebody that's dedicated to you and your, and when I say you, like, there's always two people involved in a divorce. So I am unbiased and I'm impartial. So that means I'm there 100% for you and I'm there 100% for you. And I help both of you in the same way work through all of the pieces that you need to work through. from an emotional level to the practical level. So there's the emotional side of a divorce and there's the business side of the divorce.
Right.
And we help take you through all of that. But we do go deep enough into it that we really hit and navigate and work through those really big pieces and roadblocks.
Awesome. So what is the process of going through a mediation versus so normally, like you said, people first things they call their lawyer, and then what happened with me is I called my lawyer and we got connected to a mutually agreed on mediator. So how would that work if I was to just call you first? Um, and what happens here, like what happens if I would say, I want to work with you, but then he would have said, oh, well, that's your person. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get to an agreed person to deal with if you're not sort of dealing that through the lawyer side?
Okay, and you froze, and I'm not sure if it was from my side or your side, Jen, but you froze up there just a little bit. But I do think I got the gist of your question.
Okay.
Um, so for us, like engage us, call. We do a free or no charge 1 hour consultation. We'll talk to you. We'll understand your situation. You'll get to know us. We'll be able to tell if you're a good fit for mediation. And after we do a lot of talking to help you understand what it is that we do and can help, you can decide if this is where you want to start. But if you start with the mediation process, you can engage, like I said earlier, you can engage the lawyers throughout or at the end. But you don't need a lawyer to call me.
Right.
And you don't need a lawyer to work through this process. If you and your partner are willing to come to the table and work with us, we will help take you through to God, I can't even think, an uncontested divorce. So then you can take it to your lawyers, or we can have our paralegal submit everything through to the courts.
That's really great. And you guys obviously, all of the legalities of everything, and you're well versed in all of the latest up to date family law.
Yeah, like I said, we're not lawyers and we don't tell you what to do.
Right.
But we certainly do know the process, and we do know the laws around what we can and can't do. So we're not going to set you up with a mediated agreement. You're going to take it to a lawyer and they're like, absolutely, that's not legal, that's not legal, that's, so we have you set up in a really great way. So whatever it costs for your lawyer to review for you, whether, that's an hour or whether you want them to turn it into a separation agreement. So there's a mediated agreement, there's a separated agreement, and then there's the divorce decree. So you can go through whatever level you need to, and we can help you understand that when you call us.
That's so great. So many things that I had no idea about before I had talked to you about this. I just thought that this is the route and that's how you do it. And because that's how it's kind of been done, like it's just kind of been the more popular way, but it seems like this just makes so much more sense in a sense of stress and comfort, and like even financially, like there's got to be a huge financial difference, right? Like how does that work?
Well, from the data, the average divorce in Alberta costs anywhere from $22,000 to $32,000 per person. The very most that we would charge a client would be what you would pay for a retainer for a lawyer, and that takes you from start to finish.
That's amazing.
So there's some things that I want to kind of tell you about mediation as well,
Yes.
and what makes it so great.
Yes, it's the things that we don't know.
Confidentiality and privacy. So when you go to court, everything is out there. It's not a private situation for you. Everything within mediation is confidential. So even like I'm dealing with two people, the conversation that I have with you privately, I don't share that with the other person unless you give me an implicit, you give me the okay to do that.
Right.
And vice versa. So not only are things, does mediation, it sets up a really safe environment to really start to dig into your situation, what it is that you need, what you're looking for, and how you want to see this unfold. And so confidentiality throughout the process, as well as, just publicly, you don't have to, your private life is not shared with the world, which is great. And again, that safe environment that we set up for you to be able to do that is another one of the great things that we do. Um, the cost, like we've already talked about, it keeps a lot more money in your pocket and a lot less in other people's pockets. So um, we work really, really hard for you in order to split and divide your assets, your liabilities, your whole financial disclosure in a really healthy way for both of you. And of course, that depends on what you have. Like I can't make something that's not there. So it also really helps keep relationships intact, because you think if you have like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, you guys are going to be co-parenting for like 15, 20 years. Like, are you going to fall back in love with your spouse? Well, maybe, maybe not, but that's not what I'm talking about here. But to be able to help you communicate and work through the next 15, 20 years while you're parenting, how can you do that if, like, you know, you had said your situation is quite estranged. It's been a very difficult, rocky road.
Yeah.
And the mediation process versus what you went through with the legal process actually builds a much softer cushion for people to be able to co-mediate with their kids and have at least a decent relationship.
Yeah,
So
that
that's
would be great.
another one of the benefits.
That would have been for that, and the cost. Well, I mean, the cost would have been a huge benefit. But even
Yeah.
just money aside, and I think that that's the thing is people get really emotional about the money part, about who owes who what and all of that. And until it's time to sort of just let that go and just be there for the reasons that you need to be there for your kids or for your own personal sanity, just letting that go and being and figuring out a way to make it work would have been. It's really important, I think. And having this conversation with you has been so eye-opening for me specifically, especially because a lot of people ask me, I'm thinking about getting a divorce. What do I do? And I'm like, don't do what I did. But then for some people, it does work. The legal way does work for some people, depending on their situation. So sometimes you just got to go to a lawyer, cut it off and move on. But I guess it depends on, your parenting and your properties and all of that stuff. The rest of it really matters. So it's definitely worth a conversation, especially if it's a free consultation with you to say, this is what I'm going through. What are my options and what do you recommend? That could be a really just great first conversation when you are dealing with, it's a loss and it's a change and it's a that whole piece of it doesn't go away. So I think that that's really great to have that as an option, to know that it's a viable and safe one and that it's effective. So how effective is it? Because I've heard that mediation does have high efficacy rates.
It does. And I'm trying to think, our Don Shapiro, our lead mediator, had shared a blog with us. It was from the UK, I believe. And anyway, it was all about the mediation and how working through the mediation piece, because you're actually dealing with the issues and the issues that you have and the issues that you have with the other person, the issues that they have with themselves and that they have with you and that you guys have with your kids. So because we're delving in and working through all of this, it really does make a much more effective outcome in the end. So with us, the process can take, we say, like 3 to 4 months. But that depends on how quickly the individuals work. We do have some files that go longer than that. So it depends on how quickly the couples work. Usually the financial disclosure, like there's a lot of information that you have to gather. That seems to be the most time consuming piece for people. But once we get started, like I said, it's not going to happen overnight, but neither do the lawyers or the courts. And especially now with everything backed up in COVID, we can get you to a place where we can just put that paperwork through for you and you can have it done, get started with the next start with the next stage of your life. And it always comes back to the kids too. For families that have children, it's having each parent set up as most successfully as we can do for you and you can do for yourselves, so you can be the best parents that you can be for your kids.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, the timing, I mean, I'm 7 years in and I'm still have nothing. So Yeah, 7 years and a whole lot of money and a lot of I don't know, anger, stress, whatever. Now it's all calmed down, but really that would have been really good to know. So if anybody's listening and you're in a place where you're just not sure what to do, even just a phone call, just to even explore the option, whether you're, you know, in a lawyer situation or not. Because a lot of times if I would have started with my lawyer and then we would have decided, because we did eventually decide to go through mediation, that could have been a good point to call you guys as well. Or pretty much at any point, even now is probably, you know, depending on the legalities of our agreement that we have with our arbitrator, it might still be an option to go through this with you. So I think you and I are going to have a call about that either way, but I
Great.
don't think there's ever a bad time, right?
What's that?
There's never really a bad time to start.
No, whether you're trying to figure out, you know, we don't help you make the decision on whether to separate or divorce. We have some great people like Lisa McCallum, even yourself as a life coach or a counselor that you're working with to help you make those decisions. But whether you're in the first stages and you want to know what's involved to kind of help you make that decision, whether you're just getting started, whether you're partway through, we can help the process move smoother and in a gentler way than any other process that I've had experience with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so great. Okay, so I'm going through mediation and I call you, and why am I choosing Nancy over anyone else in the mediation world? This is your infomercial. Go for it.
Oh God, I wish I was more prepared. No, but like you said, I've heard other people say they've had experience with mediation. I mean, I get all kinds of calls, you know, can you help us get together? Like I've had joint venture meetings with lawyers and, you know, different people. And mediation, it seems to have some great experiences, and some people don't have great experiences with them. And I won't go into all the reasons why, but I will tell you that if you reach out to myself or any of the team here in Fresh Start Mediation, we are here to help you. We have learned the skills to be able to dig deep enough to help you understand what's going on for yourself and the other person. Once you get to that point, we can help move you forward. For me personally, like I just bring.
I lost you there. You froze a little bit. Hold on, come back. Oh, the realities of life.
Oh,
sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Oh, sorry. And
Okay.
I hope it froze on my good side.
Yes, actually it did. You had a good face. But you were talking about for you personally, and then you froze right when you were about to give us the good nuggets.
Oh, for me, I bring a peace to situations. So I bring a calmness to people, which really helps take that stress off people. The other thing that we do as well is outside of scheduled mediation meetings or mediations, like if you've got something going on, call me. Like if something comes up that you guys can't agree on and it's outside of the scheduled time, call me. I'll help you guys work through that. So we give a lot of additional support outside of the mediated scheduled times. And that really helps people move through some of the day-to-day stuff while they're trying to figure out how to, you know, we talk about, you know, helping people communicate in a different way. And again, that doesn't happen overnight. So we're there to help you every step of the way. And even once the mediated agreement is signed, if you like, you know, we can do like set up like a WhatsApp app, and I can navigate between you guys for the first 2 or 3 months. It's going to drop you and figure, you know, all of a sudden now you're going to be able to take it all on your own. And when you have to do like your annual tax reviews for your child support and spousal support, we'll do those reviews for you at no charge as well. So just contact us that time of year. We'll tweak it and let you know if there's any changes that you need to do. So we offer a lot of support outside of the actual mediation itself too. And from my understanding and conversations that I've had, you don't get that with a lot of other mediation firms.
No, hearing you say that is just, I'm shocked. I had no normally you finish the deal and then that's it, and you move on to either a parenting coordinator or another form of something else. And I don't know, for me, I found that route just kind of, it's a never ending sort of, to me it sounded like more of a cash grab, like, okay, we can't decide, okay, well then someone else is going to keep deciding for us. But like, how much time is that going to take? Like, how many years am I going to not just be able to get it together and figure it out? So having that support from someone who already knows the situation, who's helped us through the situation, like that just seems like a no-brainer to me. Like, I'm kicking myself under my desk right now, like, why didn't I do this before? But again, having that information, and I think that starting out at the beginning, or even wherever you are in this process, knowing that there are other options and knowing that you're not stuck is so huge. Like, I just thought I was stuck and I was here, and this is the route I'm taking, and I'm still here.
Yeah,
So it's
we
frustrating.
it really is. And I mean, we have 7 people on our team now. We have 8 people. We have a CDFA, so a certified divorce financial analyst. Our lead mediator, Don, he has a whole financial background. We have a paralegal. We have a large group of people that can really help support um, us while we support you.
Yeah, on
So
all levels, right?
we always have 2 mediators working on a file. So, if you can't reach me, you can always reach, uh, whoever is working on the file as well. And we're both available for you in that way. Um,
That's amazing. That's really great. And I've always, like, that hasn't been, and I know a lot of friends, a lot of people, that has not been our experience. And I'm so grateful to be able to talk about this with you now, because there are so many people that are going to be going down this route, unfortunately, but it's not something that I'm promoting. It's just, this is a reality, right? Nobody
no,
wants to get divorced, or nobody wants to separate. But if you're going to do it, like, do it in the best way possible for your family, for your sanity, for even for your partner. Like, you married them for a reason, right? It's not a claws out, fangs out kind of situation that it could be. And for us, it was for a while, but like, it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm so disappointed in the fact that I didn't do it smarter, So, and it's funny because now my girlfriends and I are like, who's been the longest separated without a divorce? Like, it's like a competition of who's had the longest zero results divorce. And I mean, it's me at this point, and I'm not proud of that.
well, you know what? You don't know what you don't know. And that's
Exactly.
why what we're doing today is so great. Because one thing about getting into mediation and conflict resolution that I found is that there's a lot of people that, we're not meditation, we're mediation. And
Yeah.
there's just a whole lot about this world that is so beautiful and so helpful, but a lot of people just aren't aware of.
Yeah.
So educating and just helping people understand that there is a much healthier option out there is fantastic. So
So amazing.
I so appreciate your time to give me that platform today to be able to bring this to as many people as we can reach.
Yeah, I really, really think it's so important. Sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, and the other thing that we offer and that I thought about too is like we don't charge by the hour. We offer a one-time fee, half up front, half at the end.
Amazing.
We're there to work with you. We're in this because we want to help people.
Yes.
And we've set it up in every way possible. And again, Don has had Fresh Start Mediation since 2015. Got to give most of the credit to him. But it's set up in a way that we can help people through this in the best way possible, financially, emotionally, and for the family and the kids.
That's really, really great. And I'm so glad that we are talking about this, especially now. And I think that it's so important to have, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. And I really didn't know. And I'm so glad that whoever's listening can know now, even if they go that way or not, just to have the other option and to have the information handy and available to say, okay, I've heard about this, I've learned about this, this is one of my options, and this, and then make the decision on whatever works best for their family. So awesome. Nancy, what a lesson it's been. It's only been like, 30 whatever minutes, but so much great information that you've just shared with us. And I'm so grateful for anyone that's listening that will have some sort of advantage from this, because this is huge. This is like, this could save people years and thousands of dollars. So thank you so much for sharing. And any last words before we say goodbye? Because thank you for so much for being here.
No, thank you. I want to give a big shout out to you, Jen. Like, I met Jen back in the fall through Connie Jacobs and a workshop we were doing together. And yeah, it was fantastic. So, I mean, I can take you through the divorce process and get you to the end. But there's a lot of support people around to help you with other things that need to be taken care of. And that's the other thing that we offer, is a great network of real estate agents, mortgage brokers, psychologists. And this is where the shout out to Jen goes, as a life coach.
Thank
So
you.
whether she's helping you figure out the best place for you to be and to make a decision, or helping you start your new fresh chapter once you're finished your divorce. Jen's awesome. For the short amount of time I've known her, she is a powerful, powerful lady. And I so look forward to working with you in the future, Jen, because I love surrounding myself with great people. And you are certainly one of those.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because you know what, there is a tie to what we do, and we were talking about how that makes sense. But really, once your divorce is done, just because one chapter of your life is over doesn't mean that you just roll over and die. Like, and having been through this process and having rebuilt my life after that, had I not had coaches and mentors and really great people around me help me get through to the next phase, I don't even know where I'd be, like, so having a plan, even as part of, I don't know, part of the settlement, or even just as an additional piece after the mediation, after the divorce piece, really makes a lot of sense to me. Like, since we were talking about it, and it's like, once you're done with the legalities and all of that, and that chapter's closed, you got to still keep reading the book, right? You got to keep writing the book, not reading it. You have to keep writing your book and keep going in the direction of, this is who I am now. A lot of times we get lost in, there's a lot of areas in our life that we get lost. So we get lost when we, become parents. Like, our whole identity changes because now we're a mom or a dad or whoever, and then our life becomes around that. And then, if we get divorced, then now you're in this category of, I'm an ex-wife, or I'm, and that's not who you are. Yes, that's part of your story, but it's not who you are now. So now it's like, somebody once told me, well, you're a divorcee with 2 kids. And I'm like, oh, that's my definition? No, that's not who I am. Yes, that's part of what's happened in my life, but that's not me.
It's an
So
experience that you've had, but it doesn't define you.
exactly. So being divorced, or, I mean, now it's almost mainstream to be divorced and have kids, and be a single parent. Um, that's part of me, and when people talk about fierce mom, and they talk about, like, what does that mean? Yes, being the fierce mom is part of, yes, I'm a single parent. Yes, I'm a business person. I'm still a woman. I'm a friend. I'm all these other things that isn't just one category. So once we deal with the divorce part, there's still all this other rest of our life that we have,
Right.
right?
I mean, divorce and separation. And a great lawyer friend of mine made this statement: it's an exit. It's not a strategy, and it's not a way to get a pound of flesh. It's just a door that you need to get through, so the rest of your beautiful life can unfold for you.
Yeah.
And you said nobody chooses to be here. And
Right.
when a relationship, people come together in love, and something's gone wrong somewhere along the way, and the decision has been made to not continue that way. And it's a decision that's made, just needs to be supported and help you work through it. And I'm not taking away from the pain and the emotional
Of course.
um, and all the emotional stuff that goes with it. But like I said, don't go swimming in that pool for any longer than you have to. And Jen, you've said 7 years for this for you.
Yep.
That Yeah, that is
A
just a
long
huge amount of time. That's a long chapter.
I've been loving swimming for a long time. My arms are getting tired. But during that time, and even still, I have recreated my life. I've become
Yeah.
myself again, with still the title of mom, with still the title of ex-wife, with still the title of potential new girlfriend or whatever it is along the way. I've still maintained the rest of my life because yeah, I lived through it and I dealt with it and I hurt through it and I went through all of that raw emotional crap that comes with that whole piece. And then but like there is life after, and that's kind of where I come in, in the sense of working with you, is that there is life after, and you help coach people through it and I help coach people after, to like get back to who they really are and to living their purpose and to setting their goals to become, you know the best that they can be for themselves, for their family, for their kids, and even for their ex, so that their ex knows that their kids are in good hands, and to have that confidence to say, yeah, I'm co-parenting with somebody that's, yeah, we didn't get along, but they're still a valuable person in in the lives of my kids.
Yeah, and like two very different perspectives of the same situation
Yeah,
can cause so many misunderstandings. And
totally.
that we help work through that stuff. We're not going to change your perception or yours. Your story and your experience is yours, and it's valid and it's true, and the same for the other person.
Totally.
And most people don't
Tool to
wake up
get
in the
through.
morning. What's that?
It's a tool to get through to the next point of life, right? That's what it is. And
Yeah.
that's so great. Most people don't wake up in the morning and sorry, I cut you off.
With the intention of like hurting their spouse or their family.
Right.
But because of communication, misunderstanding, and different perceptions, it happens.
Mhm.
And we understand that. And that's another part of how we help people work through cleaning up some of the misunderstandings, and helping each other bridge and see the different perspectives that have been happening, that have created some of what's going on, right? And you need some of that clarity in order to be able to move around and through some of those blocks.
Love that. And you are available to help. And how do we get in touch with you? I'll put all of your contact information in the comments, but tell us how to find you. Where can we get in touch?
Absolutely. You can, and we've got lots of information on our website. So www.freshstartmediation.ca. I know it's a mouthful, but we have some like blogs and free guides on difficult conversations. We have some different workshops, and we'll actually show you like the process that we go through, from start to finish. And I can answer any of those questions. Should I give my phone number here,
Um,
email address? How does this work, Jen?
give us your email address and then everything else we can find on the website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And my email is nancy@freshstartmediation.ca.
Awesome.
And I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. Just do a quick search, find me. And I'm very, very happy to have some discussions. And if there's something that I can't help you with, or somebody on my team can't help you with, I can certainly help direct you to somewhere that you can get what it is that you need and you're looking for. So.
That's amazing. That is so great, and so appreciate this conversation. Thank you so much, Nancy, for opening up this conversation and sharing the knowledge that there is a way out, in a nice way. So that's so important. And thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I can't wait for people's reactions to this. This is going to be a good post. I think people are going to really appreciate this conversation and they'll learn a lot from it. So
Yeah, and thanks again, Jen. And I look forward to picking up the thread and doing some more conversations around this. And I'm going to be very happy to be able to share this on my network as well, to reach as many people as we can that can
Awesome.
use the help that we provide.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy Payne with Fresh Start Mediation and Jen Hadley with Fierce Mom. We will talk to you guys soon. Have a lovely day.
Bye.